diaspora around the globe is Dublin football manager Pat Gilroy and Dublin footballer Brogan. You're very welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. And of course, Sam Maguire is here. Now, I'd made a visit to Martin King's wedding the other day, so I'm absolutely amazed you got it back. I mean, I thought I would be going home with the King family. Congrats on what was a great year. I'd start with the boss first, Bernard, if that's okay. Tell us a little bit about the commitment to the cause, because people sort of know that it's a full-time commitment, but do they actually realise the extent of and the amount of time it takes up and how it controls and runs your life for the 9 months and more?
I think, you know, people who are involved in football realise that when you do enter it, that it is a massive commitment, but it's thoroughly enjoyable. So for the people who are involved in it, every minute that you're there is pretty much enjoyable. I suppose it's the families behind us who really make the sacrifices, because they're picking up the pieces from you not being there. So I think for us, yes, we do spend a lot of time, but it's very enjoyable. Yeah. It's stuff that we want to be doing, so it is a lot of hours, but it's a hell of a lot of enjoyment, you know.
And how hard so was the decision? I'm sure you wanted to do it, but just looking at juggling your own business commitments and your family to re-sign on for another year.
That certainly from the minute the match was over, you wanted to continue, yeah. But you know, there are other things at play. You know, the economic situation is a big factor for me now at the moment, because business is difficult. So I could only really commit for one more year, but it was an easy decision from the point of view of wanting to do it. But once family were okay and business was okay, then, you know,
I'll ask you this because everybody's asking it. If there's an economic turnaround, no matter how small, will that make the decision at the end of next season a little bit easier to make if you're offered or asked to stay on another year?
I think it could, you know. It's so variable at the minute. You know, everything that is happening does have an impact on what's happening in business. So I just have to be, like, that's my #1 priority, is to make sure I can look after my family. And at the end of the day, it's an amateur sport, so, you know, it is a hobby,
of course,
at the end of the day. So that's the primary consideration.
Well, of course, you're still playing club football up to last Sunday.
Yeah.
I won't go into the details. It's probably a bit sore still at this stage. But just looking at the celebrations in Croke Park on that Sunday, I mean, where I was sitting, there were people from Canada, people from the US, people from Australia. And it's amazing the amount of people who come home. It's also amazing where the hell they get the tickets from, but that's maybe a different story. The celebrations on the pitch, I was saying this to Pat outside, looked far better with you guys and the Kerry team only, and officials on the pitch, rather than this massed throng. Did you notice that? Like, was it more fun to be able to run down to the hill and salute the hill with the cup?
Yeah, well, before I obviously experienced it, I always thought that the Sea of Blue or the fans on the pitch was a great experience, but having lived through the way we did it, having a bit of time to go up to the fans and enjoy the celebrations was unbelievable. We got about an hour out in the pitch, and just kind of moments like that are hard to get. So we sat in the middle of the centre circle. The stewards had asked us to leave, so we didn't want to go, because they don't come very often. So no, I think that's the only way to go for players. Obviously, the fans love to get involved and meet the lads, but for us, it was an unbelievable experience.
Oh, it was absolutely huge. And again, the commitment for players as well is just equally as strong. But you have to train with your clubs as well.
Yeah, well, we go back to the clubs every now and again, just to try and keep in with the club lads. You don't want to be away from them all year and then having to come back in the club championship. And fairness to Paddy, always lets us go away. And if we have a couple of days free, we'll be able to play with the club. So it does help, and it helps the club lads, because there can be segregation happen if lads are away for too long, you know. But I know we love it. It's an amateur game, as Pat says, and we go out there and for that 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, that's the way we do it. And everyone doesn't get it, but when you do, it's a special time.
That's fantastic, yeah, sure, look at it sitting there. I mean, again, look, talking to former players afterwards, and I met John McCarthy, and my goodness, John now might be the most animated of people at the best of times, but his face just being pride at his young fella winning in All-Ireland as well as him, and just the thrill, and it was almost as if he'd been playing again in that match. So when you could see former footballers and the joy they achieved, and fans, it was just absolutely magnificent. Are you surprised, though, the footprint? Like, you know, people from all over the world want to get involved. Dubs basically were living and working overseas because they have to. And I mean, I know you're heading out now to the States this week, and I know certainly in Boston there's a man out there, a fellow called Sean McCormick. He's out there over 30 years, and anybody who's gone out to participate in GAA out there has come across him at some point, and he's put up an awful lot of people and given them a start. And I think he's preparing some sort of a welcome out there for you guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, Sean got in touch with us just after the All-Ireland, and another guy called Paul Hurley in New York got in touch with Bernard. And I mean, it's great. They've offered to basically do fundraisers for us to sort of defer some of the costs for training, and obviously we're hoping to have a good holiday at the end of the year as well.
So.
And they've been fantastic. You know, they've just pretty much said, look, you just get yourselves here, and in fairness, Aer Lingus are bringing us over there at their behest, which is great, and they've been very good to us, and we're hoping that we can deepen that relationship with them, to be honest. But I think it's really important that we do go, particularly at this time. There's so many people have left the country, and I think you saw pictures, you see them up on YouTube there of pubs in New York, pubs in Boston, and it's great to be able to bring out. There's like 8 of the players are going to go out, meet people, you know, who for no fault of their own are out there now, and they need to stay there. And some of them obviously can't come back here as well, unfortunately, as I'm sure is the case. So I think it's very important to get out there and meet them.
Well, I know that the Boston folk were sort of saying they were amazed that there wasn't actually an official Dublin chapter out there, and I think they're a little bit embarrassed that it's taken till now and the win to sort of get one together. But they're approaching Dublin County Board now for official affiliation, and they're hoping that they can build a long and lasting relationship, and I think that'll be welcomed.
And I think it's fantastic. I mean, you see a lot of other counties, they really have a good structure set up in the States, you know, and there has been a Dublin club for a few years now in New York, and I think now Boston are getting it going. Okay. They've started up a Facebook page there now as well, so I think it's all, I think it's great, you know, because maybe Dublin people were not the best maybe at doing that, you know, a bit of networking around the world, you know.
So I think the Facebook page, Friends of Dublin GA Boston, is the page there for anyone who's got any interest. They can maybe go and have a little look. And what day are you out there? You're in Portobello's Bar, I think, in Brighton? Saturday. We're there on Saturday evening,
okay.
Well,
we're in New York Thursday and Friday.
Well, look, have a great time. You deserve the break, because I think the new season will come around all too soon. You looking forward to that, or are you just concentrating on the break for the moment?
We're going to take a well-needed break, and he's a few tricks up his sleeve now for us in January and February.
That's he always has, yeah. And does it bother you? Like, obviously, most years, because it's Dublin and the vast support, the bookmakers always put you in there in the top 3 or 4. This year, you'll be odds-on favourites to retain that title. Does that put an extra pressure, or is it just something you ignore?
I think it makes no difference, you know. For years we've been in the top 2 or 3, and we didn't get mapped in the championship, so we're in the top 2 or 3 again. You know, what difference does it really make to us? We just have to concentrate on the things that we can concentrate on, you know. I
nearly forgot the book, A Rare Old Season. Where can people get it?
Any good bookstore around the country now. I suppose it's a unique thing that we've done, that the county board, that the players and sports have come together, and again, proceeds from this will help to go to the cost of running the team. So hopefully people can get behind it.
Make a lovely Christmas present, stocking filler, as they say, won't it?
That's a great
and a great memory as well. All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. Pleasure indeed. Now,